Hey, it's Dr. Hannah with this week's Hot Topic. Today I want to talk to you about menstrual cups. So men, you can just shut this one off. But I want to compare them between tampons and menstrual cups because those seem to be the more popular thing where women use on their periods. But there are also other things that you can use that are a little bit less dangerous. Not that tampons are dangerous for you, but they're just better for you health wise. So I'm going to talk a little bit about why that's more healthy for you, and then you can decide which one if you want to try something different or totally change. So the first big one is cost. So this one's kind of small, but tampons typically it's between $50 and $100 a month, depending on how many you need, versus a menstrual cup is about 20 or 40. So really in the big picture, cost is pretty indifferent. The second one is a huge factor is durability. So menstrual cups, you can either get disposable ones or you can get a silicone one that you keep every month. You do have to clean it out, but you can actually use the menstrual cups for a lot longer than you can use a tampon. For some women, that's a huge factor because we're crazy busy. We don't have all this extra time to constantly running back and forth, or you're worried about leakage. So having that 12-hour coverage or not have to worry about it is huge. So that's where the menstrual cup has a little bit more, well, a lot more, that you don't have to worry about it. There's not as much leakage as you would with a tampon because a tampon only has so much absorption that it can do. So that's the other thing too. It's been found when they've done different research that a menstrual cup can actually hold twice as much liquid as a tampon. So why this is important too, this typically is more common in younger women, so like teens who have just started their period or they've had a little bit longer. This is where that toxic shock syndrome kind of freaks people out a little bit with tampons, is sometimes these tampons are get left in a little bit too long, and that's when you can have all those issues. So that's one of the things that you don't have to necessarily worry about when you have a menstrual cup, is you can leave the menstrual cup in a little bit longer in the tampons because it doesn't have this little the bucket that it holds, versus a tampon is just a cotton thing that absorbs the blood, so it's going to stay in there. So that's how you can prevent the toxic shock syndrome when you use a menstrual cup versus a tampon. So the other big thing too is, what are they made of? So tampons, they're made of cotton, so they don't actually have to tell you what they put in them. So I know some of them, they do have a certain smell to them. They can have perfume in it. So that's when you can have a little bit of irritation for women if they use a tampon versus a menstrual cup. Because a menstrual cup, either it's silicone, or if it's the disposable ones, it's just a plastic bag, and then it has a hypoallergenic ring on the top of it that gets inserted that way. So those are kind of a difference if you find that you have a sensitivity to, or you have a lot of pressure or anything in your pubic area when you have a tampon. That might be another good reason why you potentially could switch over to a menstrual cup. Now, some of the downfalls of a menstrual cup is it can be, tampons, they're easy to use, they're simple. You have a guide tube that will help insert the tampon, and it has a string so you can pull it out when you need to change it. But with a menstrual cup, it's really, you have to squeeze the top and insert it that way. So some women might find that it's super inconvenient. It's messy when they have to take it out. So that's potentially a drawback for some people. Well, not people, but for women. But so it just really kind of depends on your personality, if you're comfortable with doing that. Some people just really are not comfortable with doing that. Also, if you're out in public. So those type of things you kind of have to pay attention to, like, would you rather use a tampon versus a menstrual cup? Now, of course, there are other things that you can do. So now one of the newer things are like the cloth menstrual pads. So it's like a reusable underwear that is a little bit more popular. I have no idea how those work. I have to do a little bit more research on them. Of course, you can use the traditional pads. You can do a panty liner. So there are a couple options now that are more common, and they're newer and improved than they were, 10, 15, 20 years ago. So the big thing is there are just other options and other ways that you can help when your period is starting. You have different choices to do, like, okay, well, what am I going to do? What's more comfortable? What's good to fit my lifestyle? So those are some of the big things to choose. But I've realized over a couple of years when talking to people, they have no idea that these menstrual cups even exist, and it's a total game changer for people who are just really uncomfortable wearing a tampon, and it's just doesn't fit their lifestyle because they constantly have to change. Or they have really heavy periods. So if they have really heavy periods and they're bleeding through those tampons, a menstrual cup might be a great idea to try. But again, it's kind of your own personal preference. And like I said, I apologize, guys, if you are still watching, kudos to you. But this video today is just kind of more geared towards women. I mean, it's good knowledge for men to have too, because sometimes you're having to run to the store to get these tampons or cups or whatever your spouse, girlfriend, wife, sister, whoever needs these for you, and you're a good guy to go get them. So that's all I have for you guys this week. Hopefully it was helpful and you can do a little bit more research to see which one works best for you and your lifestyle. And I will see you guys next week.